Heart. Bone. Muscle. Legs cracking to match your friend's pace. This man runs on, teaching his body to break the crush of 8 Gs, 8 times the force of gravity, when the whirl of a blackout, a gray moment of lost control, could kill him. This is Art Scholl, teacher, designer, sometime actor, and professional stunt pilot. Driven by one consuming ambition, to be the world's aerobatic champion. This is his story. The Art Scholl story, brought to you by Pennzoil, the Ask For motor oil. Pennzoil, the motor oil that's worth asking for.
Your oil's down a quart.
Oh, I'm sorry.
What kind do you use?
Whatever you say.
Now, Casper, you know you wanted Pennzoil. Why didn't you ask for it? Don't you think you deserve it? You know, Casper, you only get what you ask for in this world. If you don't ask for Pennzoil, you're liable to wind up with one oil one time, another next time. Some good, some bad. To get a really good oil every time, people ask for Pennzoil even when they don't see it. That's how Pennzoil got to be known as the Ask For motor oil. Do all those other people deserve Pennzoil more than you? It's not too late, Casper. Go on.
Listen to me. I want Pennzoil. Now, do you hear me? Pennzoil.
Yes, sir.
Ask for Pennzoil, 100% pure Pennsylvania motor oil, complete with additive Z7. It's worth asking for.
Art Scholl first climbed into a cockpit one cold, windy April day when he was 16, back in Wisconsin. Already a national model airplane champion, Art decided right there to be a world-beating pilot. Now in his late 30s, Art has yet to fully achieve his goal. Considered one of the top air show pilots in the United States, he has narrowly missed the World Aerobatic Championship twice. But his determination has intensified. He uses every possible moment to perfect his routine.
Left aileron, right rudder, forward pressure. Left aileron, left rudder, and back. Picking up airspeed, very critical in airspeed, 200 miles an hour. Pulling in the vertical, half roll, stop it. Left rudder, straight down, pivoting around the left wing. Right rudder for correction, back down the runway. Picking up airspeed, coming up on 180. Pulling vertical, hold it, left half roll, stop. Push forward on the stick, feel light on the seat, coming on over, straight down, check the horizon. Check the horizon, pulling out, pull back, pressure, I can feel it on the seat, coming around. Airspeed, coming up on 190 again, vertical, half roll, stop. Horizon looks good, push over the top. Altitude, good on the altitude, 1,000 feet. Coming down, this will be a negative, pushing forward, watch the ground, Art. Okay, it looks good. Coming out, right down the runway, half roll, out.
Everything I do is programmed ahead of time. I can feel if I have a good maneuver, a bad maneuver, or if the maneuver is graceful. And it is a wonderful feeling to suddenly become locked in as part of the airplane. And especially in competitive flying, spectators know when this feeling is achieved. And this is what we're after. We're after the feeling of becoming locked in with the aircraft, and it is a feeling that is just very difficult to try to explain. To explain that suddenly you are up there with wings on, part of that aircraft. That aircraft is living.
watch that center line. Picking up speed, 180. Pulling up for the hammerhead. Check the horizon again. All right, 60, 50, 40, left rudder, full left rudder. Coming around, little right aileron, right rudder for correction, down the runway. Back on the airspeed, 180, 190. Coming up on 200, pulling back into a loop now.
When Art was 21, he came to California in search of an aeronautical engineering degree and the opportunity for a lot of flying. He found both. He's currently professor in charge of the aeronautics department at San Bernardino Valley College and the holder of virtually every pilot's rating known to the FAA. When Art was a senior in high school, he worked nights and weekends at the local airport to buy his first plane, an old two-place Aeronca.
I remember my folks when they first learned I was flying solo. They were really in an uproar.
Art has come a long way in the ensuing years. His old Aeronca has been replaced by the two highly modified and specialized Chipmunks he uses in his act. These aircraft, based on the Royal Air Force primary trainer, have been rebuilt and modified to withstand the stress of aerobatics, something akin to turning a Piper Cub into a Spitfire. His newest plane has been rebuilt from the wheels up to include a retractable landing gear, single cockpit, and a 260 horsepower geared engine. Art has bet 2 years of hard work and $35,000 that it will carry him to the World's Championship. Art must pay a stiff price for his pursuit of the championship. Even with his college salary and the income from the 30 to 35 air shows he flies every year, the cost of building, maintaining, and flying the planes leaves him little left over. The Art Scholl equation, money is inversely proportional to ambition. Still, he flies, overcoming short funds, bad weather, and show cancellations with a Midwestern determination to succeed.
Ribbon pickup coming in, aligning, looks good. Coming right in, left rudder, little forward, little high, little low, pulling up, coming up. Here comes the ribbon. Looks right on, got it. Felt it on the tail. Feel it on the tail. And Lavsavak, here we go. Get ready for the outside snap. Now, outside, push, around, ground. I feel it tumbling, okay. Where's that spin? Where's that? There's the flat spin. I feel it now. It's spinning flat. Recover from the flat spin. Here we go. Push it into the roll. Watch the ground now. Watch the ground. It's coming up fast. Okay, airspeed back to 180.
Art's whole life is built around flying. His teaching, practicing his routines, keeping in top physical condition, and working on his planes. He's tried all types of flying over the years, including air racing and stunting for motion pictures. But the greatest challenge of all is aerobatics, the difficult, demanding pinnacle of the pilot's art. Few possess the experience, the knowledge, the finesse to enter this select group of airmen. Fewer still have the phenomenal skill needed for international competition. Art Scholl is one of those very few, and it takes the total dedication of his time, his money, and himself to maintain his thrust to the World Championship. San Bernardino Valley College, where Professor Scholl heads the aeronautical department. His position allows Art to teach a free range of subjects, from flight instruction to shop work to starting a jet.
Okay, APU. All right, now your fuel boost is on, right? The inverter. How about your alternator? Your alternator? How about your fuel boost? You know, here's your fuel boost pump. Oh, we're held in on fuel boost. That's okay. I wanted that in. And inverter's on, and the careful, your main inverter. Okay, let's give me alternate power. That's good. Now back to normal. Watch your percent. We're coming up on 3, 4, 5. It'll slow down and stabilize now. It's at 7, 8. When we hit 10, I want ignition. You're at 9. All right, advance the throttle to ignition. Go ahead. Right there, hit the air. Back here.
Art's liking and respect for his students is reflected in his face.
First, I'll turn the master power switch on. And if you'll note, we have system power now and all 3 gear in a down lock position. Next thing is I'll hit the hydraulic pump, which will give us system pressure. And if you can note, the pressure is building, and it'll build to a maximum now. Now hit the landing gear in the up position. And gear is on its way up. All 3 are on lock. How's this rivet look? Oh, it looks real good. Real fine. I'd add another Clico in here.
Teaching is the other side of Art Scholl. His love of aviation flows from him to his students. This is the busy, crowded part of his life and makes up for those moments of great loneliness in the cockpit. Art Scholl wants to be the world's aerobatic champion. To help provide the money and add a little fun to his dedication, Art flies for the movies. He's often called to don the helmet and goggles, climb aboard his Fokker, and duel to the death for the cameras.
They are temperamental little airplanes. In fact, if you consider that they were made in 1916, aerodynamics just wasn't what it is today back then. These are 2 of my favorite old birds. And when flying for Frank Tallman of Movie Line of the Air, I usually fly the Fokker D7. And Frank flies the Newport 27.
Recently we filmed Art and Frank Tallman at work.
Well, I guess Art's been associated with me in a flying capacity really longer than we've had Tall Mance as a corporation. I've known Art and flown with Art for better than 15 years now, and Art's flown all types of airplanes for me and with us, Fokkers and Newports and P-51s and Twin Beaches and even a few I can't remember. For the people that see motion pictures and TV, they'll probably never really ever know that it's Art or myself or one of several other pilots that we like and trust, but they'll also always know that it takes somebody with a great deal of skill, the kind of skill that Art has, to fly these kind of acts and these kind of shows.
Moscow at the 1966 Fourth World Aerobatic Championships, Art saw the Yak, the aircraft of the Russian team, overwhelm the competition. He knew then that to win the championship, he would have to build a new plane.
I felt that if I was to design an entirely new aircraft, that the chances of improvement year after year would be far greater. So I immediately began thinking about my new aircraft. The first step was to get my old wings out of Canada and start in on a retractable landing gear system. Through a lot of engineering work, a lot of help from other people, we finally had the landing gear installed in the wing and working fairly well. From this step, I bought just component parts and a bundle of stringers and bulkheads. Many of the components were missing, which probably was very fortunate because the new design components were superior to the original. The fuselage then was constructed with a single cockpit configuration, getting rid of additional cockpit area. So a new canopy was designed to give us a better aerodynamic flow of the air around the canopy and around the tail section areas. This new aircraft seemingly would have fantastic possibilities. You see, the Russian Yak has tremendous vertical capabilities, and in our competitive flying, it is very essential that we, in this country, achieve an aircraft that would have equal, if not superior, vertical capabilities to the Russian Yak. Determining power loadings and wing loadings and weight-to-power ratios, why, it became apparent that the 260 horsepower geared engine would be superior to the Russian Yak. And like all new aircraft, we did have bugs in it. And we anticipated having bugs. And within a very short time, the new airplane not only lived up to our expectations, but greatly exceeded them. And to this day, we are just astonished at the vertical capabilities that this aircraft has.
Riverside Raceway, an enthusiastic crowd of race fans witnessed the debut of the new plane, the Super Chipmunk. Will it justify the more than 2 years and over $35,000 spent to create it? As the cars roar through the final practice lap, Art takes off.
Left aileron, right rudder, forward pressure, getting out of the aerobatic area, picking up about a 180 mile per hour for the hammerhead turnaround. Straight up. That slows down now to about 60 miles an hour, full left rudder, pivoting, little right rudder for correction, and straight on down. Now full snap down on a 45, recover, and pulling out. Now picking up speed, bringing it right down to the ground, about 5 feet off the ground for a Family 9 turnaround. Up on a 45, a half roll, hold it. Much more altitude than the other airplane, way up. Hold it, now coming over the top, pulling back, plenty of altitude, so hold the line. Hold the line. All right, start to pull out. Now pick up the airspeed for the 8-point roll. 180 miles per hour. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Picking up speed now for the tail slide. We're low on the ground, but the aircraft will pick up the altitude. Throttle back. Falls into the smoke, straight down. Try that again. This aircraft really holds the heading straight up. Coming up. Airspeed going to 0, throttle back. Aircraft's falling backwards, the propeller's holding it good. Straight down, back through the smoke. Straight down, picking up airspeed now. Picking up airspeed for the vertical 4-point. 220 miles per hour, straight on up, check the horizon, 1, 2, 3, 4, plenty of speed, over the top, 1,000-foot altitude, now, very critical, straight down for the outside snap, straight down, full outside snap, recover, right under the line, and recover about 5 feet off the ground. Now, up on a 45 for a full inside snap on a 45. Around, recover, hold the line, over the top.
And now the final test, the Lumshabak, a check maneuver called the headache. Art forces the plane to tumble end over end as it plunges to the ground. The plane endures 8 positive Gs and 6 negative Gs. Few planes could live with the stress. He makes it. The plane is fine, just fine.
Well, I'm happy with the plane and with the show we've put on. All airshow pilots get a lot of self-satisfaction from flying a good show. Just like any other performer, we like applause.
For the last few years, we've been talking about the back-to-back loop, the canopy-to-canopy, inside-outside loop. But not until recently have we seriously been considering doing it. You see, 6 months ago, the only country in the world that did it were the Russians, and the Russian team was killed in doing this. So just recently, Skip Volk and I have been practicing and working up to actually doing this.
The approach is straight and level. Skip flips on his back. Art moves up into position. The canopies now just 15 feet apart. They climb into the loop, holding their position, so close that the slightest wrong movement could send them crashing together. Coming down the other side now, they hold to the straight and level and recover. The back-to-back loop is just one of several things Art and his associates are working on. They continue to improve and expand their air show. And now, with the new plane proved ready, Art waits anxiously for the next World Championship competition.
Okay, Skip, smoke's on. He's getting ready. Positioning. Get ready. There is his roll. Pull underneath him. Now watch it. Positioning's important. Keep that propeller right at his cockpit. Okay, now he's pushing over. I'm pulling back. Pulling back. Watch it, Skip. You're slowing down a little bit. Full power. Full power. Keep up there. Very important. Keep that propeller at his cockpit. Full power. Keeping right with him. Don't let him pull away. Throttle back a little, Skip. Okay.
Flying air shows and exhibitions isn't enough for me. I feel I must show that I'm capable of competing with the best pilots flying aerobatics. In competition, we start out with equal opportunity to fly identical compulsory maneuvers, and we have a freestyle event to show the range of our skills. The standard of performance is so high in international competition that if you win the championship, or even place among the finalists, you really have achieved something. You know that you have to be one of the best pilots in the whole world. I think my new plane is the best there is. We have worked hard and we are ready. I think this time we can win.
The Art Scholl story has been brought to you by Pennzoil, the Ask For motor oil. Pennzoil, the motor oil that's worth asking for.